My dear friends, this is Dr. Silverman and her amazing pet therapy dog Fiddler coming back after a long break. Welcome to spring. The excitement of today's episode is immense because it's almost like a déjà vu. I think I started podcasts about 2 years ago, and my first guest, or I was the first guest, of Karen Schenk. Karen Schenk runs this media company, Iconium Media, that takes care of me, my website, the podcast. So today we are going back to the roots, and Fiddler needs to be quiet. So because it's springtime, and as we started, Karen and I, and Karen, thank you so much for being my guest. It is such an honor and a joy, not only to have you as the CEO and the president of Iconium Media, taking care of me all the time, also as a friend. And it seems like I somewhat know your journey, and I see your transformation, healthy transformation. That's why it is so imperative and important for me as the healer, as the physician, for us to connect, especially in spring. It's like a beginning of the new wave or on the new series. And the series have absolutely the same content as always. It's a series of health. And guys, to give you a heads up, it's not only going to be about humans. We're actually going to talk about the health of our doggy friends or furry friends. I will have an amazing Dr. Katie Kangas, holistic veterinarian, holistic conventional, an author, an amazing person from US of A who I will be interviewing, as well as Dr. Melody Rodarte is coming back, and there is more and more and more coming. But today, it's all about us. Thank you, Karen. Welcome. And I don't know whether I'm welcoming Karen or Karen is welcoming me, because I'm actually sitting in her premises. So thank you. How are you?
Well, thank you so much. It is such an honor to have you here. You're one of the busiest people I know, and any moments we can get together are just really precious. And so you've been such an incredible inspiration to me over the years, living life to the fullest, working through aging, navigating all of that, and just coming out on top and just going, you know what, we have so much to give, to offer, and to help people. And I just thank you for your friendship. You are a beautiful human.
Thank you very much for summarizing it, because the feeling is mutual and entirely reciprocal. You're actually all of the above of what you have mentioned. Absolutely. A mother and a wife and a grandmother of how many? 7. However, guys, if you see her, and we are going to be talking about her journey, she does not look like a grandmother. She looks amazingly beautiful and young and fit and trim. And that's Karen's journey, because it hasn't been the case. So let's get into this. Guys, what are we talking today, and why are we talking health in spring? What is something about spring, especially in our environment, in our weather, in our climate, in where we live? We do not live in equator area. We don't have the sun. I'm afraid to say that we started our spring, because this year the spring has been perpetually slow and intermittent.
I was talking to someone last week, and he said, this is our 10th winter this spring.
I was told 11.
Okay.
So, and it's funny, I was driving to Iconium Media, and I live in a subdivision, so multiple ponds are still covered in ice. I feel sorry for the ducks. They're walking on ice, and it's like, guys, I'm so sorry. It should be water. So, spring, so what? Guys, in the spring, especially where we live, we are depleted. And we're depleted in many aspects. And I'm not going to start with food. I'm actually going to start with our emotional status. Because having spring number 11, it called seasonal affective syndrome or something, seasonal affective something. I'm not going to put the designation of seasonal affective disorder. Because when we have such ups, finally we see the sun, and then we have such down when we have snow and wind and -8. It affects our psyche. It brings us down. Am I correct? Have you felt that way?
Yeah, I was in Abbotsford on the weekend. We flew beautiful sunshine, and we flew home into the storm, and it was just like immediate. Your soul just felt darkened, and it was just like, why does this affect me this way? Your spirit is just really lifted up when things are lovely outside.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing that external emotion, that kind of, I call it environmental insult or environmental input. Where is it hitting us? It's hitting us. Who are we? We are the conglomerate of cells. So it hits our cells, and if the emotion is negative, so it hits the cell in a negative emotion, creating that is the cellular negativity, or what is called oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is an abundance of free radicals. And if we don't deal with that abundance, because it's just too many, and that's why we feel overwhelmed, and we feel sad, and we feel even angry. It's like, why is it happening? I don't want this. That conveys into the cells, and that builds an abundance of free radicals. So now, on top of it, we are through fall. Well, some of us sort of, utilize the fall with our Alberta abundance of fall vegetables and fall fruits and stuff, but we're done in winter. So we depleted this. So, our food supply is lack of nutrients. So how are we dealing this? So we can't eat good food. We do eat good foods, but they are depleted. So that's why we feel maybe exaggeratingly sad or something, and we need to deal with this because the abundance of free radicals or oxidative stress, if we don't deal with this, eventually is going to lead to some chronic inflammatory conditions. So that's why it's so important for us to deal with this in the multitude of ways. So let's start with an amazing Karen Schenk before we get to foods. So guys, I know Karen for well over 10 years by now. Trust me, she was not a grandmother then. However, what happened, I started noticing that in years, so am I, Karen started putting some weight, if I may say that,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, I did. Yeah.
And of course, when you deal with a friend, you feel for them, but you're not allowed. I'm not allowing myself, especially to a woman, to say, hello, you put on weight. Nice compliment. You can tell that to a dude, to a guy, and you see his muscles, that's a compliment. Oh, yeah, I'm bigger now. No, this is not too good for a woman. So anyway, and then something happened. And Karen took care of her health. What happened? How did you do that? So hang on, before that, I'll tell you one thing. There was no Ozempic involved. There was no Ozempic. There were no drugs. There may be some supplements. Let's talk about what Karen did with her lifestyle choices. Because trust me, guys, she looks like $1 million.
You are so sweet. That's amazing. Well, yeah, I found myself in a place where, as I've often coined it, I was starving myself to fatness. I had always known if you're going to gain weight, you just don't eat for a while and your weight comes off. You add more exercise. I knew what to do. Well, I didn't know what to do with a menopausal body because it does its own thing. The rule book went in the garbage, and it was an entirely different story. I found myself feeling very tired all the time. Brain fog was just a huge factor for me,
Which is not a good idea when somebody runs the media company.
Right. So you're just put everything into the day, and then you go home and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm absolutely wiped out. And just like, how do I make this work? And I was just really struggling and feeling, sometimes you start to feel like, I don't know if the word would be like a bit of an imposter. It's like, I'm this old lady dying inside of this body, but I'm trying to live this life that's not. And I, at that point, didn't want to weigh myself because I often had body dysmorphia, and did I say that right? I didn't
You
say that.
totally
Yeah.
did. And
Okay.
thank you for being so honest.
And I was like, I knew that being on the scale was going to be a problem, so I didn't. So, but I'm buying clothes, and they're continually getting larger and larger and larger, and I'm like, okay, I'm not making this up anymore. This is a problem. So, I started to then feel really unwell. So I went to the doctor, and they did a whole bunch of tests on me, and I went back to this unnamed doctor, and she said to me, she says, you know what, you are in perfect shape. Your body is completely fine. She goes, however, do you think maybe, do you have a therapist that you could see that could help you learn to deal with this and accept the fact that this is what happens at your age?
Can I interrupt you?
Sure.
Guys, she's not alone in this. Her blood work was entirely normal. All the imaging studies were entirely normal. And she was feeling horrible. And see, this is kind of my upset and my responsibility that we did not listen. We did not listen. We basically somewhat shoved her under the rug in terms of, okay, let's get you a psychotherapist. It's all in your brain. And the body told her something different. But the sort of the absolute positive outcome of this situation, she took charge of her body. Guys, it's not the doctor that is taking charge of our bodies with the pills and stuff. We need it as physicians. The pills are needed. The drugs are needed when they're needed. I'm in charge of my existence. I'm in charge of my body. So listen to Karen. She took charge of herself. Thank you. That's an inspiration.
Absolutely. And I one of the things that she said that was actually positive, I said to her, if I was to go on Ozempic, what will happen? And she said, well, you'll lose weight. I said, okay, great. When I stop taking it, will I gain it back? She said, most likely. And she said, I said, so it basically is a suppressant. It's not going to fix anything. And I said, can you be really honest? And she was. She says, no, it would be a suppressant. So I was like, I don't want to just delay the inevitable and have this like great little season. And I'm not saying for other people it could be a good thing. For me, I didn't want to go there. And I thought, in this whole wide world, we have so much information. There's got to be someone somewhere that can help me. So I went online and I'm searching and typing all these things in. You know, it's like, how do I get help? And I came across a lady. She actually runs a little organization called Even Better After 50. And I contacted her and I was like, okay, if this is a scam, that's fine. I'm going to just see if it is. I'm going to plan towards that. So anyways, I contacted her. And we had a conversation, and she's become also a really close friend over the years. And what she does is she helps rid your body of your eating of inflammatory foods. And I had no idea that I was literally eating inflammatory foods every single day, all day long.
Talk to us.
Like healthy. I'm like,
what are the inflammatory foods?
I would have yogurt and bananas for breakfast. Okay. That's inflammatory. I would snack. I'll have little bits of food. I would snack different things. I didn't realize that anything that I had that was processed, a lot of the carbs that I was eating were like literally just sticking to me. So I have moved to and this is so interesting that you talk about it being spring, because April 24th, I started this program of just really learning to listen to my body and to eat healthy 3 years ago. And I am within 1 pound of what is actually my pre-pregnancy weight before I ever had kids when I was in my early 20s.
She's got 3 children. Amazing.
Yeah. So what I do is I eat, basically it's intermittent fasting.
What does it mean, intermittent fasting, for you?
I don't eat after 6 p.m. and I don't eat before 9 a.m.
Full stop. Why is it so important to stop eating after 6 p.m.? So well,
Tell
there
me,
you
you're
go.
the doctor.
That's
it
right.
Sticks to me. So I
That's
just know
right.
the results.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
This is extremely important to stop eating after before. I mean, the last meal should be basically before 6 p.m. or maybe 7 p.m. because we live in what is called diurnal cycle. So it's a cycle where everybody knows the hormone cortisol, as well as the hormone insulin. Well, insulin it's a hormone, but surprisingly enough, it's a peptide, and everybody now is into peptides. So yes, and one of the most important things is to keep insulin and cortisol in synergy, in synchrony. So that diurnal cycle of up and down should be synchronous between cortisol and insulin. So what happens is our cortisol, why do we say eat your breakfast? Why did your mother and grandmother taught you to eat your breakfast? That is very, very important. Whether you are on intermittent fasting or not, you got to eat your breakfast. Some people do intermittent fasting and start eating at 2 p.m. That's wrong for metabolism. You're screwing up your system.
Which is how I was living. I never touched any. I just didn't eat.
So what happens is stop. Sorry, guys, so I've got two guests, Karen Schenk and Fiddler Silverman, who is my pet therapy 4-year-old mixed lab, who I call, now I forgot, never mind, purebred, I call him purebred mutt, Alberta special. So back to diurnal. The highest cortisol is in the morning. So that's when we woke up. We're supposed to be refreshed during the night. And the highest insulin is in the morning. That is exactly why you got to eat. So then our cortisol goes down and slows down in the lowest after 6 p.m. So if you start, and every time you eat, you spike up your insulin. Because you eat, you get your insulin going. So when you eat at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., beautiful celebrations and stuff, your cortisol is down, supposed to be down, but insulin is up. Cortisol doesn't do that, so it tries to catch up. It disrupts your diurnal cycle. You cannot sleep well. If you don't sleep well, that's a problem. So that's why when you said that you introduced healthy breakfast, so stop eating right after 6 p.m. You can drink water, you can drink tea, preferably not caffeinated beverages, because, some of us are very high caffeine, not absorbers. We basically not absorb, we digest, we processed. Caffeine process, fast caffeine processors, and some of us are slow. So if we work out our caffeine fast, so it doesn't affect our sleep. So sorry, guys, he will slow down. He just needs a snack, and he's not going to get one. No. So breakfast. So back to the breakfast around 9 a.m. What's for breakfast now? So what else did you do? Okay, well, we'll get to your menu.
Yeah.
What else?
So basically, where I started eating green, it's really greens and protein and greens. That's really how I live my life. I put in, I have a variety of different things that I eat, but it's as if Mediterranean married a little bit of keto, and I have very ordered and structured.
What's the Mediterranean for you? What do you mean by Mediterranean?
Tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, and just that's a lot of what I eat, and just have salads for lunch and I love kale now. I used to think kale was an awful thing. It's fantastic.
Let's take a quick break to talk about some tangible steps you can take right now towards true health and happiness. My life's purpose is to empower you to seize control of your life especially when it comes to wellness. But every person's needs are unique, and there is no one-size-fits-all solution. That's why we're launching a brand new initiative. Now, you can book one-on-one call with me, Dr. Sveta Silverman. Please do. Together we'll talk about your history, your health history, how you feel, how can you improve on your health, the goals. I'll use that information to help you to plan a custom approach full of recommendations that I learned not only from my medical career, but from my personal journey. Let's unlock the secrets of happier, healthier you. Visit healthwithsveta.com/contact to book your free 30 minutes conversation and call with me. Now back to the episode. Now, guys, do you know that half of a red pepper is your daily vitamin dose? And how yummy it is. And tomatoes are so very important for lycopene, right? Hugely important for the guys' prostate health. Very, very important. What did you, so you did Mediterranean, so protein. What did you do for protein?
So I do a variety of different things. I will use, I have chia pudding every morning.
I've seen that. It looks delicious.
My life is so full and busy. As long as I just literally have the same thing every single day.
As long as you have chia seeds and blueberries. Guys,
and blueberries. I love
Karen
blueberries.
Schenk loves blueberries. And you guys need to develop your love for blueberries because the blueberries are very high in polyphenols.
Favorite dessert ever will be blueberries, 100%. And then I also introduced a little bit of dark chocolate because our bodies crave sugar. And I hated dark chocolate. You might even find 100% at our house because my husband has that. I can't quite go there. I can do 90%. But so that together with a few raw nuts.
So what's your chocolate? Is it over 70%?
I'll go more with 85 to
Terrific.
90.
That's guys what you should aim.
Yeah,
you should
but you
definitely
don't start there because it tastes awful until you learn to acquire a taste, and then it's amazing, and then you stop craving all the garbage, and it's amazing. So
and you stop eating around 6 p.m.
Yes, yeah.
Do you snack now?
I will have only in the middle of a day. I might have dark chocolate and a handful of raw nuts, and that will for me be either walnuts.
Guys, did you just hear what she said? She just said raw nuts.
Yeah.
It is very important, actually, to eat raw nuts. Mm-hmm. Despite that the roasted nuts taste so yummy, they lose their nutritional value. And you may even add through the roasting some rancidity, maybe. Some oxidation, not rancidity, oxidation. Raw nuts are extremely important. That is an amazing source for fats, proper carbohydrates, and indeed the protein. And another thing is, as you probably heard Karen, she said that she basically doesn't snack. It is very important. The idea of us eating, the one that actually sits next to me, aka my dog Fiddler, he is really, really mooching for a snack till he's going to calm down. So sorry, guys. But that's okay. I love this interaction in a sense because it's in a live presentation. So snacking is not good for humans for the same reason. We need to eat when we feel hungry, because when we feel hungry, that is the message from our, let's say, insulin. It's a message from our cells that feed me. But when we're not hungry, the message is, I have plenty of insulin on board. And you don't want to keep your insulin at a high level all the time or spike it up, because insulin is something that is called a growth factor. You do not want, not only that, growth factor as a growth. No, when the body has a lot of insulin on board, and the body is not healthy, aka a lot of oxidative stress and a lot of chronic inflammation, so then it leads, and you have growth factors, it leads to confusion of the cells and start making wrong type of cells, That's when we start thinking of a big word C. So that's why we need a very balanced insulin. And that's why one of the main culprit of our living is insulin resistance, because we are overfed. So basically, we create a situation where the cells are so full and stuff, so the gates to bring insulin and process that food is disrupted. So the blood is flooded. So the cells, in a sense, because there's insulin resistance, so the insulin doesn't get into the cells. The gates are not open for the glucose from the bloodstream. So the cells are screaming, we are hungry. So we are eating more insulin, more glucose, but cells are not responding, and we're still gaining weight on this. So what happens is, that's per se the essence of Ozempic. So that what happens when we start implementing the healthy lifestyles, which you did. You just mentioned two, I think, most health profitable diets as the adjusted or modified Mediterranean style diet and ketogenic diet, and an intermittent fasting.
Yeah. And for me, what I've learned, my life is not same old every week. I've been traveling. I'm often not in a place that I can control what's being put in front of me. But what I've learned is, it's like maybe instead of getting carbs, I say, can I have extra greens? And that's looked like a lot of funny things, like they put
oil and vinegar on the side.
Yeah,
I don't want your salad dressing.
Or it's like, I'll order, if there's nothing to order, you order a hamburger with nothing on it, and you get greens instead, and can I have some extra tomatoes? Like, there's ways that you can you redact some of these things, and I found out every gas station has Cobb salad. I was on a road trip, and I ate so much Cobb salad, but got my eggs. Yet you come back home and you go right back, but you don't have to go, I'm traveling. I can go and eat donuts and pastry and all that. I don't do that, because as soon as I go, and this is 3 years in, as soon as I give myself, I'll use the word permission to, I can deviate, but if I will find myself very hungry and bad hungry. And it's like, I need to keep my body satisfied, so I fuel it with healthy. You can eat clean most places. It's like, I'll have that, but please don't put any sauces on it, whatever it happens to be. And there are days where I literally just, whatever. You just have to do what's maybe not the best thing, but guess what? Do it right the next bite. I fix it right away, and I'm back in place. And what I also do now, I weigh myself every single Sunday morning, and it's way easier to change it if you went a pound out than if you went 10 pounds out, because now you got a lot of work to do. And it just keeps me, particularly for where I'm wired, keeps me on the straight and narrow.
Guys, do you sense the theme here? The theme here is commitment to my body. Because the thing is, it's not only, I think we're responsible. Karen has an amazing family, with 7 grandchildren. They're amazing grandparents. And the kids are spread over Canada, more like, western part of Canada. So the responsibility is not just about her body, but actually about the family. It's like, don't you want to be around for them as the best you, as the, smiliest grandma, a smiliest and the happiest and the youngest looking? So I think that's the commitment. That's a commitment. Now, let me ask you a question. I know you love running. And I also know when you were at your heaviest, you had issues with your joints. Mm-hmm. So what happened? Because I also know that you had no operations.
Well, first of all, I was packing around 52 more pounds than what I am.
She's 52 pounds lighter.
And I am what my body was created to be. This is what I had been all my growing up years. This was my median average. I was probably a little bit lower than I was, but at the end of the day, I sleep well. I drink a lot of water. I'm hydrated. My brain fog is gone. I mean, I have my moments, obviously, but I am so energetic. Sometimes I don't quite know what to do with it, and it's a lot for my staff sometimes. It's like, yeah, I just feel so much joy, and even just gone through some really hard things recently, and it's like, in a way, I was able to. This is hard, and I put this in a box, and I go, I'm going to deal with this. But on the flip side, I have this
How do you recharge?
Recharge?
How do you recharge? What do you do?
Oh my gosh,
Because guys, listen, this is extremely important for spring.
Self-care.
You've got self-care. You need to recharge.
Yeah, I need to recharge.
How do you recharge?
I go and be with my husband. I go and be with my family. I go for walks.
How very often do you go for walks?
Probably every day.
How long?
Depends on the schedule, but we try and do at least a minimum of a half hour.
Okay, so this is paramount. This is paramount. Trust me, guys. This is a very, very busy woman. Very busy woman. Every day, all day. And every day, just she said, she's going for walks for at least half an hour. Again and again and again. This is a commitment. And going for walks, it is so critically important for your happiness, for your de-stress. Especially, I think Karen is luckier than some of us because she lives somewhere in woodsy area and stuff, so she can go and be in half-ass nature in this environment, which is, again, very, very important. It's much better to walk with trees, surrounded by trees, as opposed to surrounded by buildings downtown Edmonton. So again, the message is, number one, you got it. So number one was what she did with her life in terms of foods. Number two, how is she dealing with her stress? She just said spending time with family, spending time with her husband. Well, that's a different situation. We're not going to throw any jokes. It's an live podcast, and exercise. Very important. However, there's one thing that Karen forgot to mention. Guys, the connection with Superior, whatever your source is, is paramount. The connection with universe, to me, and a creator, is extremely important. We're of the different religious denomination, but we believe in God. And I know that Karen starts her morning
every day
with something. What do you start your morning with?
Well, I wake up and the very, very first thing I do is I go in my living room, I'll turn on my fireplace, I grab a water, used to be a coffee, it's now a water, I start my day with water, and I spend time reading and just meditating and, a few prayers and just that's how I begin my day. I anchor, and if I'm in a place where I don't have that time where I'm just needing to run and gun, my soul longs for that, and I try to find it in a different point of the day. It might mean something as simple as, instead of taking an elevator, take a staircase and just have that moment of stillness in the midst of it. But I'm with a lot of people, but I do need to find anchor, that time alone for meditation and just being still.
This is, guys, that's the whole thing. That was so important for me to connect with Karen on those issues, because that's spring. So this is not New Year's resolutions that we flunked to do. I go to the gym, and on the 3rd of January, the gym is full. And on the 15th of January, the gym is back to the regulars. So, no, spring is different. Spring is the body rejuvenation. And the body rejuvenation and our reassessment of our goals of life in terms of health. We're going to have a conversation, my dear dog Fiddler. We are going to have a conversation because I know you want to be a part of this podcast. You are. Now let Mom talk. So the rejuvenation part is very important. And now if you need to start, and again guys, the notion that I can't afford organic, I can't afford this is irrelevant. You cannot afford, what is that in the package? KY, macaroni and cheese.
Craft dinner.
Craft dinner. That, Katie, that you cannot afford. I'm sorry, that you cannot afford. But so now, especially the spring and stuff, you will start seeing more and more green. But you need to start spring, you need to start cleaning your body. How are you going to clean your body? You wake up and you look up and you wake up and you do couple repetitions of deep breathing and the appreciation that a beautiful dog is next to you and a beautiful dog is barking, which is not acceptable, but it's life, and he brings you that love. And then you do have your nutrient dense breakfast, and you are committed to go out and have some exercise, but you need to take charge. You need to take charge and look, yes, it's spring, so now you're going to start seeing some sprouts and you're going to see some new season stuff. And when you go outside, maybe start enjoying the buds and start enjoying the geese and start enjoying the ducks, this kind of things. And you may start noticing that, yes, my spirits are higher, this kind of things. And yes, everybody works hard and stuff, but then, as Karen does, you stop. And the same thing, maybe you start breathing. You do few repetitions of breathing. And then you go for whatever rejuvenating walk. If you don't want to go with your husband or something, I cannot go for a walk with my husband. He's got an injury. He can't walk long. But I have to, and I have a luxury. I have to walk twice a day with my dog. And this is my rejuvenation. That's why I decompress. And then you go and you look at your foods. Now it's a springtime. It starts, you need to go back and start enjoying those colors. Because colors is your spirit and colors is the nutritional density of the foods. You go, it's nicer to have organic, but I understand. Buy not organic blueberries. Wash them. They're coming back. You can rinse them. You can start carrots, red carrots, purple blueberries, green lettuces or green kale, orange peppers, orange tomatoes, white rice, green grapes, yellow cantaloupe, yellow something else. And those colors, every color has a different nutritional density and different nutritional compositions. And that will start giving you vitamins, which I forgot to mention because we are depleted in vitamins. So now you need to reboot it, rejuvenate, and eat those A's, red peppers, carrots, and you need to eat your B's, your greens, and you need to eat your C's, which is oranges and mandarins and red bell peppers, and then you need to get your D's, which is the sunshine. So finally, now sunshine is not just an illusion. So now the sun is at the angle that actually gives us those rays that we can make vitamin D. And eat your E's, as Karen says, she eats her E's. These are raw nuts. So now I basically gave you the range of vitamins, and now you need your minerals. You absolutely need your magnesium. What is the ingredient that is highest in magnesium? And Karen eats it, and it's called chocolate. But in order for you, I kid you not, probably every one of us, unless you supplement with magnesium, is deficient in magnesium. If you're high, if you can't calm down, if you can't sleep, if you have jittery legs, if you have restless legs, you are deficient in magnesium. If you're constipated, sorry for gory details, you may be deficient in magnesium. What is the highest product and ingredient in magnesium? That's a chocolate. And I'm sorry, I'm not talking Hershey Kisses.
No,
Hershey Kisses is lovely. It's a great decoration. They look cute. It's a great decoration. But you cannot eat Hershey Kisses. You need dark chocolate, minimizing. So magnesium, and then obviously we need calcium. Again, some of us do milk products that will give you some calcium. However, greens, the different dense greens, that's a calcium amongst other minerals and stuff. So now, you get your Brazil nuts. Brazil nuts, one Brazil nut will cover the daily recommendation for selenium. And we need to have selenium. We ain't going to be thinking without selenium. So this kind of things. And then, guys, when Karen said, and then we need fish oils. We need fish oils and we need our omegas. Same thing. Now it's a spring, so seeds and nuts and fishes. We do need to eat oily fishes. We need to eat the salmon and sardines and mackerel, because you ain't going to eat fish oil, you ain't going to think. So I think, guys, we're going to stop here, because I think we probably exceeded our 30 minutes. My deepest apologies for our third guest or second guest, whose name is Fiddler Silverman, and he finally calmed down. And absolute incredible gratitude to Karen Schenk. And I think, guys, this was just the beginning of the season. We just nearly touched the iceberg of what Karen can bring and talk to us about lifestyle changes. And mind you one thing, she's not a doctor. But she is so much healthier. So she is her own doctor. So guys, the message of the day, you are your own doctors. We are responsible for our health. So till next time, to health, to love, to kindness, to spring. Thank you, Karen. I love you.
Well, thank you so much. What a gift to be your guest today. And you have been such an incredible inspiration for me. And one last thing, with all of the health aspects, one of the top things what we need is good friends that do life with us and inspire us and help us go outside of the box. And you are one of those. Thank you so much.
Friendship, kindness, guys.